So I want to tell you my story so you can understand how I arrived to be a divorce recovery mentor. But we have to take it way back to the 1980s when I'm in 5th grade. And I notice the new kid at school who's in the bright red parachute pants. And I noticed him because I thought he was weird. I was in 5th grade, and this ended up being my first husband many, many years later. So in 5th grade, we weren't friends because girls and boys don't really talk. But in middle school, he started giving me gum, and we started developing a friendship. And then in high school, we got to be pretty close buddies. He later told me he always wanted to get out of the dreaded friend zone, but he was much too wild for me, so I never said yes or even acted as if I liked him. I loved him as a friend, that's it. So then we went off to college. I went my way, he went his. I ended up going to Italy for a few years, and when I came back, he was there. And he asked me out. And I said yes this time because he had changed, and I thought, why not give him a chance? He always makes me laugh. So we went out, and things went well. 4 years later, we got married. 2 years later, we had our first daughter in 2002. And then in 2005, we had our second daughter. So at the time, we were living in Georgia, and things were good, but sometimes I noticed that he would get restless. And when this happened, we always had a geographical move. We went to a bigger, better place. So we would move to a new house. And so we did, and that was great. And that lasted about another year or so. And then in 2006, he said, I got to get out of here. I can't stand it in Georgia. We got to get out. And I knew that if I didn't move and I didn't agree with this move, that my marriage wouldn't last. So we moved from Georgia laterally across the states to San Diego. I didn't really want to go, but when I got here, I loved it. I mean, what's not to love about San Diego? So then we bought a house and we renovated it, and I picked out every light fixture, every doorknob, and the day that the last thing on the punch list was marked out, he turned to me and he says, it's just not big enough. And when I come up to it, it doesn't say dun-da-da. And I said, what? I was devastated. I just essentially put the last nail in the last bit of the renovation, and he wanted to move again because restlessness had crept up again. So we did. We went to the bigger, better mansion. We moved across town, and we got a wonderful house that wasn't mine, looking over the Pacific. The girls were in a great school. From the outside, we looked like we had it all. And as you can imagine, 2 years later, restlessness came in the marriage again. But this time, I really noticed it. He was on a trip in Vegas, and I noticed that he left his wedding band in the shower. So I called him and I said, hey, I noticed you left your wedding band in the shower. Did you mean to do that? And he said, of course not. That was not intentional. I would never do that. I said, well, I'm feeling very insecure in the marriage right now. And, you know, this is the time when couples have affairs. And I said, do you want to work on the marriage? And he said, absolutely. I'm coming back tomorrow and we'll do just that. So the next day, I was so excited about picking him up from the airport. And I rushed to the airport to get him. And he slung his bag in the back seat, sat down, and said, it's over. I thought he was talking about his relationship with Southwest Airlines. I didn't know he was talking about our marriage. So I soon learned that it was our marriage, and I was flattened, devastated, emotionally raw. And naturally, like these stories go, there's more to the story. There was another woman. Oh, and she's pregnant. And 6 months to the day that he said it's over, when my divorce was finalized, 2 weeks later, they were married. My therapist married them. 1 month after that, they had a baby. So I like to describe these blows after blows like a tsunami, because a tsunami has waves of 3. And every time I came up for air, I got hit in the face with another wave. But somehow I still got a sip of air, and then I would go down. And then I'd come up again, I get hit again, and then I go down. So you get the idea. So what I have described to you is a classic, major life transition. And that's what divorce is.